My name is Robert Meyer, and this is Joshua Meyer. He's 20.
And many people may know you. You're a big presence on social media. Well, you come down my feed a lot.
Yeah.
I see you a lot.
I spend too much time there, so thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I'm going to get better.
No, you're good. You'll catch my eye the whole time on social media.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what happened here.
Yeah, well, we had 5 children, 2 older girls, and Josh was number 4 out of the 5. And he contracted RSV and a rotavirus when he was about 14 months old. And prior to that, he'd be, pretty healthy, and he'd get a vaccine. And looking back, and we could see, well, then he would get an ear infection and go on oral antibiotics. So that was sort of the cycle he was on prior to this 14th month episode. And he had been dehydrated in the hospital and had an IV. And then my wife at the time took him to a second doctor and got a second opinion, and then that's when they vaccinated him for 8 diseases at once. So it was the MMR, DPT, I think oral polio, and the Hep B, I believe. So my wife said he was like standing in the hallway screaming that night, probably from the inflammation of his brain, swelling and things of that nature. So then he stopped talking, he regressed, he had words prior to that, and then we thought he was deaf. So we went through the whole episode, and when I actually took him to Columbia, Missouri to have his hearing tested, that's the first time and the first doctor that mentioned to me the word autism, just casually. But then it took a few months before the official diagnosis actually came in.
So how were you as a person? Did you ever question the vaccines, or did you just accept them?
No, at that point I didn't. We didn't even make the correlation at that point, and then we went to relocated to Iowa, and Iowa's been really good for us. They gave us some therapy in the school system that really helped a lot, and so Josh has really regained a lot of his functionality. So we're, grateful for that. But then I think it was around 99, 98, we started to make the suspicions, the correlations between the vaccines and what happened to him. And then April 2000, I went to D.C. and sat in on the congressional inquiries with Dan Burton. And at that point, Andy.
What do you do? What is your profession, or was your profession?
I'm an engineer.
Right.
Yeah, I've spent 10 years with the FAA, certifying instrument approaches, and so I know what it's like to work in a job where the public trusts you with a product.
Mm-hmm.
The product we provided, gave AIM's aircraft precision approach to runways, typically a 200-foot decision height off the end of the runway at a half a mile. So, yeah, I took the job seriously, and
so you got involved. You went up and you listened to Dan Burton, and
yeah, Dan Burton in D.C. in April 2000, and really came back a changed person. I went out there with my 2 older daughters, stayed with a friend in Mount Airy, Maryland, and heard Andy testify then, and I really expected things to change. 16 years ago, I expected to see some change, and unfortunately, we haven't.
It just got worse. The vaccine got bigger.
Right. And you remember, Iowa here was the first state in the country that outlawed mercury in vaccinations in 2004, I believe it was. But even at that point, I think they reduced the mercury and doubled the aluminum, right? So it didn't help. They're both neurotoxic. So
people are concerned because he's holding his ears, if he's okay.
No, he's okay. He doesn't like me to talk, so I don't get to talk often. Josh, you want to play your tablet? Want to listen to some music?
What do you say to the people that say that you're just looking for an excuse and vaccines don't cause autism and all that kind of things that we listen to a lot? What is your theory to those people?
Well, I think vaccines cause vaccine injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're given the label of autism.
Right. Well, I think the system's broken, and I think we have people that, number one, they either won't admit it's broken or they deny it's broken, and they seem to have selective understanding. They have selective ADD where they can understand a host of other topics, but for some reason they can't understand the fact that somebody would or could be vaccine injured. So what really concerns me is the fact that, then the injury itself is ignored. So, I mean, Josh has elevated antibodies to myelin, and, we're helping him to detox now the heavy metals, and, glutathione levels are low in kids with autism. So,
That is happy.
yeah, we're giving him things to help him boost glutathione naturally to help his body recover. So, but obviously there's some brain damage there that occurred when he was younger, and some lack in development that occurred. Can you say hi, Polly?
Hi, Polly.
Hi, it's nice to see you. It's nice to meet you. So, what made you come out to the back bus today?
Oh, I came to the bus today to support the team.
Thank you.
Okay, right.
And does he like to go out as well, Josh?
Yeah. If he had his choice, he'd stay inside all day.
On the computer?
Right.
On
But
doing
we,
this?
right, but we
Same
don't
as
allow
Billy.
that. We don't allow that, do we, Josh?
So, what advice have you got for people going forward? Let's get your advice for the people that were like us, that didn't think to research the vaccines and trust it.
Well, from my perspective, I mean, I would say trust God as your creator, and put more trust in Him than you do in the devices of man. That's what I would say, and I would do things to boost immunity rather than attack it myself.
Would you or your children, or I don't even know if you have grandchildren or whatever it is, would any of them ever vaccinate after this?
Well, personally, I don't see a need for it. I mean, there's too much risk involved for myself. But hopefully in the future, medicine will be tailored to a person's individual DNA and individual health needs, rather than this blanket across the board DNA modification of the whole population. So that's what concerns me. We take this gift of life, and then we decide that we're going to modify it, make it better.
Make it better?
Yeah, we're going to make it
We
better,
are
Josh.
going to make it better, Josh.
Yeah.
So, if people wanted to contact you, could they contact you on Facebook? Are you up for that?
Sure, I'm ready.
So, what is your Facebook name?
Robert Meyer.
M-E-Y-E-R, everyone.
Right, and if you just search for Robert Meyer 524, that's the full identifier, and then that's my Gmail too. So.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to say to our people?
I would say educate before you vaccinate to the general population. So.
You come up with some good stuff on Facebook, actually. He's a good one to follow, guys, if you can.
Pardon me?
I was saying you're a good person for them to follow on Facebook. You do come out with some great comments. And
Early in the morning I do.
after your coffee.
And then I degrade later on in the day.
What plans have you got for Josh and Josh's future?
Josh and I, I'm not sure. I'm going to take care of him. I may have to retire early to do that, but yeah, I'm real concerned. I mean, if the school system in Cedar Rapids, for instance, has like 40 open positions. They're really understaffed, and they're looking for good people, to fill the billets to support kids in the school system. So now at this point where we have this catastrophe, right, we got this huge influx of vaccine-injured people that need support in the school system. So it's a big problem.
All right, well, everyone loves you.
All right, love you too, Polly.